joining us. We want to turn our attention to likely the.
And I'm just going to show you from what he was reading. I'm going to show you the dash cam video. I mean, the body cam video. This is it right here. So let's watch this.
Which room is it? 1401. 1401, okay.
That's the lady. That's the lady from the leasing.
The one that called. She was like, it's getting out of it.
They need to talk to her too.
Yes, they do. They did. They really need to do something because that's a lie. So she's saying that somebody called the office and told them that something was going on. This is what she's saying now. Someone called the office and said that someone was fighting and it was getting out of hand. So she's taking them up to this boy's school. I haven't watched this body cam footage because I've just been too afraid to even watch it. But this is just something else. And like y'all said, there is not enough people talking about this. Like what happened to Manuel. Nobody televised it. No one said anything about him being shot or anything. And in this video, I'm also going to put the newspaper clipping in about that. They don't have any dash cam videos or anything about him. But I am going to add those clips because this pertains to him as well. Because he's one of our fallen black men as well. So I'm going to add that clip in here also. So you guys can read the newspaper clipping just in case y'all didn't get a chance to see it. And this complex is mighty big. So, they probably could have, there's E1401, so there may be another 1401. That's crazy.
So now he's listening, and there's nothing. There's no noise coming back from behind that door.
No noise. Watch him. He step out the way. All the way out the way. You supposed to make yourself known right then when you knocked on that door the first time.
At this point, Fortson has no idea who's at the door.
Exactly. So go ahead and elaborate for us, Brother Chuck, since you used to be an MP. Tell us what's going on here. This is crazy.
Well, there's nothing to tell. Everything is there. It's self-explanatory. Now he announces himself.
Sheriff's office, open the door.
At this point, he done already been to the peephole. He didn't know. He already got the gun in. Oh my God.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
It's over there.
Drop the gun!
All right, that was some very disturbing images.
Probably best not to answer the door. When the police show up.
He didn't have to answer it, but he didn't know. He didn't know. Him being in the Air Force, he didn't know. He didn't know not to answer that door. He did not know that. But, baby, do you want to tell them about an incident that we had here about that? We had the it's best not to answer the door. It's really best not to answer the door. And unfortunately for Mr. Fortson, he didn't know not to answer that door. He was thinking that that's his home. The police coming to his door, and what he should have done probably at that time was laid the gun down. That's what I would have done. But him being scared, I don't know. It's just too much to speculate. It just doesn't make sense to me. He didn't have time. He instantly drew and shot.
It seemed overly aggressive. The way he was
very aggressive.
Was like, shut the woman, open up, and it didn't match what was going on behind the door. I didn't hear anything behind.
There was nothing going on. Nothing at all. There was nothing going on. And I hadn't even watched this video clip, but that's, I don't know. It's too much. It's a lot. I don't know. They may have some more clippings on there about baby on there. There you go. Can you hear me?
Say y'all, you know, here's the thing, man. There ain't no fault with the young man. Look, he answered the door with a gun in his hand because the police were using tactics that kick-in boys,
Yes, they do.
Asian boys use.
Yes,
They weren't
they do.
using police regulation and policy to even execute this search they were wanting. Man, so people who try to find fault with the young man, that man, I ain't gonna say what I want to say about them type of people, but that's wrong. This was another execution, and here's the thing: he came with his mind on shooting or killing somebody today. That's how he came to work.
It seems like that at times. It really does.
It seems
It's
like that.
It's like a notch on their belt to get a kill, you know?
Yeah, it is. I can't. When they came to my place, I think I called you, Chuck, when everything went down, and we just did not open the door. They had AR-15s. They had the place surrounded. They had people hidden behind bushes, in front of my door. They wasn't in front of the door. So rather me answering the door, you said the key word, he shouldn't have answered the door. I called the police on the police.
Yep, sure did.
That's what I did. I called the police on the police.
I peeped out the window, and as soon as I peeped out the window, there were like 6 cars lined up out there. They was all on the side of the road. I peeped out the window, and whoever that was giving the command, he said, "One in the window. We got one in the window." And I just barely flipped the panel on the windowsill, and I ran back in here and I told babe, I said, they everywhere out there with guns drawn on behind the washing room. They were just standing out there calling his name over the speaker like he had done committed a heinous crime, and we hadn't done anything. We hadn't done anything. You know,
I told Harold too, if he would have came to the door, they definitely probably would have used.
yes, they would have.
Probably
So
would
I
use
told
that.
baby, I said, the best thing to do was to call in. So that's what he did. He spoke to the baby. You spoke to the commander, right? You spoke to the
Yes, I spoke to the head
man
dude in charge that day over that shift. Told them who I was. And talked to him. And he apologized and said they're leaving. And when we look back out, they was getting up out of here.
It was. That was so. We were terrified. We were in the very back of the apartment. We would not go to the front because I told him, I said, "There's no telling what these people may do. You know, that's crazy." And this was after the fallout of them shooting Sandra Bland, all these different people that they had just got done shooting and stuff. I didn't want him going to that door and something like that happened to him. You know, I was too afraid. I was so scared. We had never been through anything like that ever.
What he did is something that any normal person would do. If you hear somebody banging on your front door like that, you know what I mean? And, you know, you're not sure who it is. They could say that, the sheriff's department or the police, but the way he was yelling, I probably wouldn't have been able to make out what he was saying. He was probably confused. What in the world is going on?
And not only that, he was standing away from the door. He knocked on the door and then move way away from it, which I don't know if that's a police tactic. I ain't never seen it done, so I don't know. But what I'm saying is that's like Kirk said, that's like stick up boy type stuff. That's what they do when they trying to run in somebody's house. So he just did the first thing that he naturally knew how to do as a black man to protect himself. And him being in the Air Force, he had right to have his arms on him. I'm sure he was you know what registered, so he had a right to the door. That's his home. He pays his bills and stuff there, so that's his place of residency. No, that
and his hand was never on the trigger.
Yes,
his hand was never near the trigger.
They showed that on that on the footage. They showed that his hand was not on the trigger. He did not have his hand on the trigger, and you can see it right there in this video clip right here. You can see it right there. His hand was not on the trigger at all. Like you said, his hand was up in a little defensive manner, like, whoa, you know, I'm no threat, you know? Wow.
But
Yeah, it
again,
was
it's
premature.
when it's not us or when it's not our immediate household, we really just don't care. As Daryl said, we hearing about P Diddy. Man, he could be nasty. That's his bit. But what about this? It's too many parents that and for the record, that's something a parent never gets over. If you are a true parent, you never get over that. Never. I mean, to this day, I have moments where my heart will just start hurting, and I have to just stop and pray. Like, man, I can't breathe when I just think of it. That's something you don't wish that on anyone because we all know death is part of life. But if it can be avoided, come on now. And that's something you never get over. And I'm willing to say that, man, they eating good. The people that kill these people that kill Tay, people that kill Roger, man, they eating good. They with their families, they good. I'm willing to I'm going to stand on that. That man, they really don't care. For real. They really don't care. They're more concerned about how is the dog doing. And the way we are as a people, we really don't care. I say this all the time. No one's going to love you until they see that you love yourself. Sometimes when people are treating you grimy, you sometimes you got to be grimy towards them. When it hit their home, then they'll start getting better training. They'll think before they get trigger happy. But as long as we allow it as a people, and as long as it's not, see this incident, and what they're going to do is they're going to throw some money out there, some punitive damage or whatever they call it. They'll give them a couple of $1 million over the next 20, 25 years or whatever, and make them shut up. But what about that one that does not get any media attention? What about the Kenneth Ballards? What about the Bam Criners? What are, the ones that don't make the news? I believe it was a guy in Muskogee, that little Mac kid. If people like Crum, they only come when it's about money. Sharpton, he only come when it's about money.
Like when George Floyd happened, a lot of people came out the woodworks. And the Black Lives Matter started, but then Black Lives Matter got co-opted by other organizations and everything. And then, the people came out, but after that, it just died down. And the fight, to bring, awareness to cop brutality just kind of just faded away,
Yeah, because Black Lives Matter made millions to benefit Black Lives Matter. And so they always throw money over life.
That turned people off too. And then it changed.
Yeah, it was about money. They brought in a lot of money. But did it stop police brutality? No, it never stopped. And it's gonna get worse. And then with this kind of stuff happening, you say you're supposed to protect your home, but you're banging on my door as if there's an issue. So if I don't have an issue in my place and you're banging on my door, I'm thinking you coming at me. I think you're wrong. That gentleman thought, he didn't know who was at his door. If he hadn't done anything, it's just him and his dog in there. And they banging on his door like they doing a break-in or whatever. You don't know who to trust.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
I remember in Texas years ago, it was in the 90s. Kurt, you probably remember this. It was a young lady. These guys came to her door and she called the police and said they're saying that the police, well, they end up, it wasn't the police. They went in there, took that woman, they found her body, I think, in Arkansas, buried in a shallow grave. But when they entered her home, they were claiming to be the police.
Yes.
You remember that, Doc?
Yep. I remember. And see, that's the thing too. It's like the police is the one who's getting paid to exercise judgment under extreme circumstances. He was going to answer a domestic call and went in there ready to shoot somebody. They didn't say they thought they heard gunfire from the apartment. See, so what I'm saying is he went in there on a felony mindset under a misdemeanor situation. So what that says to me is he brought all of his own personal beliefs into his interaction with the public that day. And I know that's talking very general, but when you spiritually have it in your mind that a certain people are less than you, or mean less than your dog, right? These are the type of results you're going to get when you interact with those type of people. My point of it is when are we going to get to the point where we take our own lives into our own hands? Meaning this, I know people looked at me like I was stupid, but I think it's my duty to protect this soul and this life that God has blessed me with. So guess what that means? You can't take it if I can help it at all. Now, if that means I got to kiss some ass to survive with my life, if I got to feel like a bee or a coward for me to survive, but damn it, if I got to pick up a gun and defend myself to survive, I'm going to do that part too. And it's going to get to the point where it's just going to be known warfare. When you deal with the police, you're going to have to deal with them as enemies. That's where we're headed.
Well, that's how they deal with the public. They see the public as the enemy, you know?
Not all public, just black people.
It's obvious. It's
Not
obvious.
all public. Because this would have happened very differently if it was, like I said, a white man had answered that door in the exact same situation.
Yes.
I'm willing to bet that white man would still be alive right now. But when he saw a black man, there's nothing scarier in a white man's brain than a black man. You know, a black man, especially a black man with a gun. Right? Now, my question is this, and this will be the last thing I say, probably. Why don't we have we seen any information on the police officer who shot him and killed him? If this was a black person, if this was a black person, we would know his whole history.
You don't hear anything about it.
They would have told us. They tried to tell us that this man did something wrong. The first news that came out was it was a domestic violence situation. That's what they tried to cover it up as originally, to cover it up, you know, to say he shot him and it was a good shooting because it was a domestic violence situation, violence going on. But there was no domestic violence, and they couldn't find anything else because the man has no record. See, if he had some sort of record or anything like that, we would know all about it. We would know that he was a felon, or that he had this had happened 10 years ago, or that had happened 10 years ago. We would already know all that information because they would be trying to justify the fact that this young man is dead. But we haven't heard I haven't heard anything about this police officer, and that's upsetting. You know, they're protecting him.
They just say, let's not rush to judgment. You know, the normal deal.
He rushed to judgment. That's why the black man is dead.
Yeah. Exactly.
And us and black people, they chew on that stuff and they run with it. They know how to feed them enough so they can get full off of it and be quiet. And then what they do is they'll turn on their own people. Like this young black man that's innocent. They will turn on their own people, even when they're feeding them mess about their criminal background. That has nothing to do with the reason why someone ran in their home and gunned them down. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything. If you're at home minding your own business, your criminal history has nothing to do with why you're dead right now. And he has no criminal history. Just like with babies with my stepson. This you see on the screen right now, all these different news clippings. All these different news clippings. The main thing they want to talk about is he struggled with the police. He fled from the police. Domestic violence. The same thing. They did the same thing with him. He had no criminal history. No criminal history. They try to say he stole a car. They say he done all these different things. They still didn't say he was shot by two female police officers that were being aggressive. They say they tased him first. All these different news people said so many different things. I'm gonna pull up one of these clippings so you guys can see. First thing they show is a police badge. Then they talk about the 31-year-old man is dead after being shot by Grand Prairie police officer Wednesday afternoon during a struggle. The police department says he didn't struggle with them as far as we know. He was in the car. That's the word that we got. He was in the car. In a statement, Grand Prairie Police said an officer was called to a residence at the 2200 block of Sarah Lane Parkway at 3:30 p.m. Wednesday when a woman called 911 to say a man who previously assaulted her daughter was seen on camera arriving at the residence in a car he allegedly stole during the assault. Well, we know that was a debunked lie. We already know that the girl's mom was intruding in things that she had no business intruding in. You know, and the car that they said that he stole was his roommate's car. All of these things are a lie. But these news people take this stuff that they allegedly get and just run with it in order to make the police look defensive, like they just didn't have any wrongdoing in this. They said the officers arrived and located the man identified by police as 31-year-old Romane Manuel and attempted to detain him. Notice there were two female police officers. The word that we got were they were female. None of this is going to tell you that it was a female officer that tried to detain him. They say they tried to detain him. Police said Manuel refused the officers' instructions and ran toward a vehicle. Officers tried to physically detain him and with a stun gun, but police said neither was effective. Baby already told y'all that he had just gotten out of the hospital from having a sickle cell crisis. I've been in the medical field for over 20-something years, and I have not been privy to deal with sickle cell patients. But he raised his kids up in that situation, so he said that their strength is different. So if they tried to physically detain him and he wasn't going down, he was all hyped up on all types of medication already. So he was probably scared. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But they say they tried to stun him with a stun gun. I don't know if that's even true.
If he's on heavy pain medication, he probably didn't even feel the stun.
He didn't feel
because that sickle cell stuff is crippling. He wasn't even at full strength. A lot of times that put him in a wheelchair. I think you went and visited him while he was in the hospital. You seen how he was bedridden.
And he was like no strength. He had no strength. He could barely even walk from the bed to the little couch that was right across from the bed. I went out there and I took him some Gatorades and stuff because he said that he needed some things to drink. So I went out there, to talk to him. And that would have been my first time meeting him. I met him, real tall guy, and naturally you could tell that he was a well-built guy. But in that state of the sickle cell crisis, he was not. He was withered down to literally nothing. So being that he was in this same state during this time of his death, there is no way that he had the strength to physically fight them. No way he had the strength to do that. But being amped up, because he was on all type of medications when I went out there to go see him. He had drips coming from everywhere in order to keep his strength and stuff up, to keep that sickle cell crisis at bay. So I know he didn't have that type of strength in order to fight them. And the next line is saying, according to the department statement, he opened the driver's door and retrieved the handgun. That's what they said. We didn't get to go and see the video, so we really don't know if all of this stuff what they're saying is true. They did edit the video. We do know that to be true from whatever his mom said, but they saying that the suspect's gun was retrieved from his hand and subsequently booked in evidence. We don't know if that was planted. They saying that the cop said she feared for her life, and the other officer shot her. I don't even believe that. With all the stuff that's going on, that's unbelievable to me. I wanted to go down and view the video myself because I did want to see it, but I'm not his mom. You know, I'm not his parent, so I wasn't able to go down there and see it. And I couldn't force my husband to go down there and watch his oldest son be murdered by the hands of somebody. I just feel like that was deafening, you know. But one day maybe we'll be able to see it and really know what's going on. But all of these things that are going on out here in the media with these police just blatantly killing these black men, who's to say that this is true? You know, that we don't know if that's true. That's those are the articles that the newscasters are writing because they're trying to make these police officers declarated officers. They never publish their names. You don't know who they are. All these different things. Even the sergeant or the detective that we talked to, he was trying to cover for. You never heard about the case. They just dropped it and never said anything else. This man,
but no one could watch the tape. No one. His grandfather walked out, broke down, walked out. He couldn't watch it. His mother said she couldn't take it. No one could take it. That's why we don't know. I'm pretty sure some money was handed over. It's hush money. But that hush money don't stop the pain. So that makes me wonder, what was his life worth to his parent? Man, if I could kill you and throw you a couple of thousands of dollars and you good, you gonna shut up, it'll never change. It's gotta be where we've gotta love ourselves enough to say, no, you will not kill me like a dirty dog and hand me a couple of dollars and I'm okay with it. That's what's going to happen. I'm scared that's going to happen with Roger. They're going to hand a family that's been poverty stricken, like his mother said, we ain't never had nothing. And if you see crime, whenever you see crime, it's going to be some money taking place to exchange your hands.
I think the police feel like they're justified in that shooting because they released the footage too quickly. Now, when there's really something, when they're not confident that the officers did the right thing, it takes them a while before they release that video.
They didn't release it. They didn't release it real quick. They didn't release it. I was calling. They didn't release it. They didn't even release his body. Dude, they kept his body with them. When I said I would like an independent.
No, I was talking about Fortson. But yeah, I know about your situation with Emmanuel or what they call it.
They can edit video. Video can be edited. Even, let me tell you, this video stuff is so cold. Even a chest cam or whatever, that can be edited.
Yeah.
Any video can be edited.
That's why cell phones is important. Because the first thing they'll say is, oh, we're recording too. Yeah, but, you know, my recording is not going to be edited and I'll have access to it, you know, whenever. I don't have to wait 2 years down the line to get access to it. So, yeah.
Yep. Because if it's so innocent, you don't hide nothing. If it's just straight up, they're going to say, hey, you can come watch this. You can see this. But it was 3 weeks. And I mean, this dude already cremated. Already service given. You know, they held his body. And then after the funeral, cremated. everything was done, and then they say, okay, now we'll show you a video. But why were you holding his body where someone couldn't take his body and get an examiner that's not affiliated with the state of Texas? If everything is so legit, and I promise you, them females is right back out there working, man. They protected them. I couldn't get a name. I couldn't get nothing. It was like, no. Mom's was the word. Say, don't touch them. They good. He dead, but you ain't getting ready to even know who they are. If with that kind of protection, say, man, the killing will never stop. When you can kill with no repercussions, come on, man.
Yeah, you have to put in a, go ahead and do that FOIA request to try to get the names of that.
Yeah, because if the case is closed,
you can get a FOIA request and get everything. Exactly. When you have the strength to go through it, on your own time, you still, you can still murder, killing somebody's killing somebody. There's no statutes or limitations to where you can't, file a, hold them accountable.
But when, like I said, I spoke with Crumb. That's why I'm not a Crumb fan. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, nah, man. To me, he trash. And these so-called media stars and our celebrities that step up, they only step up when it's a media attention. You know what I'm saying? I saw Ricky Smiley talking on Undisputed about a case where a brother got done wrong. Well, that's media. You know what I'm saying? That's giving him more clicks, giving him more likes. He writing a book about grieving and still being funny. Oh man, go to the devil with that fart booty dude, man. I mean that's not cool. If you have that authority as a black man, I give big ups to Pastor Brian. I ain't gonna say nothing about his ministry or whatever, but at least Pastor Brian, he spoke up. He spoke up for his member. At least the military, they speaking up for theirs. When is black people gonna speak up for us? When we gonna stand, not from a distance, but when we gonna stand with each other and say, no, you will not kill us unlawfully. You might get some, but some of y'all gonna go with us. See, when a person has a threat of losing their own, things will get a little better. They'll start educating the officers. They'll do a better background check. It's too many officers that got, man, I know of a kid here in the Metroplex was murdered. I think over here, over in Pleasant Grove at Box Spring. Man, this dude was an ex-military guy, and he had mental issues in the military. And they let him be a police officer. He killed a brother. I think the dude was maybe 16, 17 years old.
He was 15.
15 years old.
In Mesquite, yeah.
They should say, man, when you don't hold people accountable, this is what happens. You got to hold people accountable. And the only way that's going to happen is people got to have self-love. Like, again, black people, we're the most selfish, disobedient, sorry people right here in America because they can do anything to us. And we'll forgive them. But then we'll turn around, we'll kill each other. Oh, you said this about me. What's up?
Hmm.
It all starts within us, man. So we can't really complain about. I can't complain about my son. I can't complain. I mean, if we ain't speaking about these things and talking about these things and people coming together, ain't nobody say this won't get many views on YouTube.
No, it won't, because it is not messy enough.
Ain't nobody, don't nobody care.
No, it's not messy enough.
But when it hits your house,
Yep.
when it hits your house, then what?
Like I said, it concerns us all. It concerns everybody. Romane didn't have to be a declarated person in the military in order for his life to matter. He didn't have to go and serve in order for his life to matter. You know, his life mattered because he was God's child. He mattered. And then for them to just take him off the face of this earth just because they wanted to, or because they felt like because they're wearing a badge they could, that's wrong. The same with Mr. Fortson. That's wrong. The same with any of these black men and women that have fallen because by the hands of police brutality. That is wrong. You're taking a life because you feel the need to, because of the color of their skin. That's just all it boils down to. And people can
The
say
color
whatever.
of the skin. That officer did not know that was an Air Force officer.
No,
He
he
didn't
looked at
see
the
an
first.
Air Force officer. He saw a black man.
What he saw. That's it.
He didn't kill an Air Force officer. He killed a black man. He pumped 6 holes in his brother. That's overkill, you ask me.
If it had been you doing it, you wouldn't be on this show talking right now. You'd be behind bars.
Better believe it.
And that lady that worked in that office that got that call from whoever the neighbor was, her face would have been plastered all over the TV had she been a black woman. She would not, her identity would not have been covered at all. She'd have been getting all type of death threats and everything. But they're sealing her identity just like they're concealing the police officer's identity. You don't even know who he is. Never once mentioned his name or anything. This is Florida, by the way. Florida, the same place that they allowed a white man to kill Trayvon Martin and get away with it. Same place.
And they killed a woman. I think a black woman was killed
white lady
out there in that way.
You ain't heard nothing else about it. Al Sharpton them.
Nothing else about it. They hush
You ain't
money.
heard nothing else about it. Killed this
Pastor
lady.
DeSantis or whatever that governor's name is in Florida.
Yeah.
Spoken at all?
Yeah, he a mess.
Said anything, has he?
You won't, because they paid him. You know they paid those people. And like he said, Crump, they only come out if everything is publicized because they want publicity and they want their money. When he called Crump in regards to his son being killed, you know the first question that they asked, has it been on the news? Has it been on the TV? Has anybody else seen it?
Yeah.
Those are the questions that they asked.
Wow.
That's what they asked. And then they sent us an email back. Unfortunately, these are not the type of cases that we take on. How come not? We see y'all plastered all over the TV every day. How come that's not what y'all? How come that's not what y'all see? Yeah, that don't make sense to me. It didn't make sense. So no, I'm not a fan of his. Every time you see something like this with black people being brutally killed, that's the first face you see is him popping up on the screen because he's looking for money. And there's no telling how much he's swindling out of them. And this boy's mom, first thing that came out of her mouth was, "We are poor black people." Poor black people. You know they're gonna run with that. She said that the police officers in Florida are calling her phone, telling her that this man deliberately killed her son and they were backing her. She said a lot of Florida police officers, even the chief of police. And then he goes and make a statement backing his police officer. Oh, she called him out. I'm gonna play that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play that right now.
She sure did. She called him out.
She called him out. I thought that was real. She needed to, because that right there, it needs to stop. It's enough. Enough is enough. You know, she got a lot of people that's backing her. And even for Brian, you know, I ain't gonna say nothing about his ministry either, but he only doing this because this lady probably ain't gave enough tithes in his off building to even know who she was. Her son probably did because she said that he took care of them even when they were starving and hungry. So Brian is the same as Crump to me. They all want to be in public eye because it's a big thing. I'm just saying it's the truth, and he only
Yeah.
emphasizes this because it's on TV. But this is the mom. Let me see if y'all can hear this. She's talking about the daughter, the little 10-year-old, and her granddaughter.
We can't hear what she's saying.
You can't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Hold on. Oh,
Quintar.
sorry.
We didn't have
Yeah.
to go, we didn't have to eat what was there anymore. We ate what we wanted. We did what we wanted. This a big family. We went to Disney World Universal Studios during a weekday. How is that fair? I got 5 kids. Roger is number 3. 3 and 4 would never be the same number. That's number 4. So he's not going to tell me he went to the right place. Chef Eden looked me in my face and told me if he sees anything wrong, that he put it on his mama, that he would apologize. Well, put it on your mama, because I'm standing right here. From what I heard and from how your people dissected. Police down in Florida sent me all kind of comments. They sent me so many, I couldn't even take it, just knowing that your own people that's wearing the same suit that you're wearing, saying that you murdered him, you assassinated him.
Mm.
He didn't deserve that.
No.
I don't even remember Roger killing a spider. He'll grab it by the leg and just throw it out. And you killed a human. You killed mankind. He said, went to Kuwait. Oh, Quintar, the places that he went, we're not even accepted. But they accepted him. To come back here and kill the gift that God gave to me, God has never been an India giver. Never. So you're going to give me justice whether you want to, Chef Eden, or not. If you're a man of your word, all those tears you looked in my face and cried, get back on the podium. Because no sooner than you told me that lie, you did a press conference to cover up your people.
Mm-hmm.
You asked to come to his memorial. Yeah, you can come when you do your press conference and say you're going to give Roger justice. You're going to say that you promised his mama justice. That's when you can come. Yeah, you thought he was a poor black boy. But what you didn't know, he had a mama that's a poor black single mama. And I'll walk through the fire for justice for mine. You're not going to get any more tears. The tears was for my grandkids and for my daughter, for his sister. Because guess what? He was proud of his sister. Everybody in Atlanta knew who Raven Wilburn was. And the fact that you took that from her, no, we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow that. I've talked to colonels, generals, little old me, about how good of a child he was, how I'd raised him right. There's nobody better than him. Roger was light. There would not be a stain on his name. He would not be put to rest in darkness because he was light. Fix his reputation, tell the truth, and give my child justice. Give him justice.
Justice for Roger.
Yeah, that's.
That was powerful. That was powerful.
Do you hear me? Yes. She had tears in my eyes yesterday when I listened to her say she just stood up there so strong, you know.
Yeah. She said you won't get no more tears.
She didn't give him no. She didn't give him any either.
They got a fight on their hands for sure.
Oh yeah. And she want that lady to pay too. She want that office lady, the lady in the office. She want her to pay too. She said that at the end of the video because of one of the news people asked her a question, and she wants that lady to pay. And I don't blame her. I want somebody to pay for what they did to Romane. That somebody needs to pay for that because that's unjust. It just was not right. You plant a gun on. I just believe they planted it. For me myself, I believe they did. I don't know. That's from my heart of hearts. I believe they planted it to cover up.
Yeah, don't put it past people.
That's why I wanted to go and watch the video. I wanted to go and see for myself what happened. But then that boy's dad, he stood up there and he talked for a little bit about the situation as well, you know. But I don't know. It's just crazy. But we wanted to shed some light on this police brutality because there isn't enough light being shed on our black men that are falling every day by the hands of they call themselves police, people that are supposed to be out here protecting and serving, yet you're out here killing and taking lives like you're God or somebody. So we just wanted to shed light on that and also share our experiences here, you know, as well, because it's like I said, it's touching everybody, it's touching all of us. And we all need to join forces as black people and shed light on it. If we're not out here speaking and marching and doing all those things, we have a panel here. We have a way of spreading our word. We have a way of getting our word getting heard. So I believe this is as long as we're able to shed some light and continue like we're doing this, I believe this will help get the word out and more people will start talking about it, shed more light on this situation and sharing their experiences. I was hoping other people had experiences also they weren't going to be able to get on. Maybe they'll leave comments or whatever. But we appreciate everybody that did join the panel. And anybody got any last words before we close down? We've been on here an hour and 32 minutes, but there's no time like the present in order to get it out. So we're not going to be rushed or anything. But if anybody else has last words that they want to share before we get out here, I would love to hear it. I'm going to mute myself and let y'all take the floor.
Hey, so real quick, if we don't blow the horn on this, there's not going to be any music. We got to keep
the conversation, right? Yeah, well-needed conversations, but like baby said, black people we don't love ourselves enough in order to love our own. You know, my son is incarcerated right now. I don't know the things that he's going through in that prison unless he tells me, but he don't tell me those things because for one, I don't want to hear that because I feel like he shouldn't have done the things that he did to get in there. God forbid something happens to him by the hands of one of those officers in there because I know how they are inside those prison systems, like they are out here. They get trigger happy or they get testosterone build up in them because they feel like they're in authority over them. So you know something happens to him. What can I do besides fight? But I just pray for him each and every day. Pray he comes home safely. But this is one of our sons too. This is one of our black sons, Mr. Fortson, as well as Romane. He was our son. So we just wanted to shed some light on that. Chuck, you got something to say, baby? You got some last words to say?
No, everybody pretty much summed everything up. The man was killed because he had a gun in his hand. Our Constitution, Second Amendment, tells us we had a right to bear arms, especially in our own homes. But I guess that's only for certain people. They see a gun and just quick, the gun is down. And it's not just this time. You see it all the time. So do we have the right to bear arms, or don't we?
No, that's not for us.
Yeah.
I remember, Kurt, when they started doing this right to bear arms thing, I remember you said something that you said it wasn't right. It was really, I forget what you said, Kurt, but you said something that this was going to be detrimental.
Yeah, because now we haven't corrected our societal ills. So here's the thing. What I'm saying is, now that everybody can carry weapons openly, you know what that means? Me and your life is worth however much a bullet is. How much ever it costs for a bullet, that's how much risk a white man has of taking our life. That's the way I feel.
Well, it's obvious it's not a feeling. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because now everything is just justified. And it's amazing how them laws changed when video became so prevalent in our society.
Yeah, it is exposed a lot, and it's exposed some, really awful practices that the police, do. And, believe it or not, people are catching on. And
they are, but think about it like this. 3-4 years ago, we saw a human being's life get snuffed out with the officer's knee in his neck until his life passed away right in front of us. And we still got this stuff going on, man. So for me, I'm going to let you good Christians worry about this and that. You can't have my life. I'll just put it like that. If you ever hear about Kurt, he was on his knees and then they shot him and killed him, or he just answered the door and pop. That ain't nobody's fault. What I'm saying is, when you know you're at war, prepare a strategy to win. And all I'm saying is, I'm 55 years old. You can't have my life. Whatever is left of it, you can't have it.
Amen.
Because, hey, man, it puts me on the defense. I don't even have kids, bro. And through the grace of God, I've survived some things. But what I'm saying is, as a young man, when I went through these things, I examined my actions and said, man, one day, right, I'll hopefully mature enough where I won't make these same mistakes, but the world's got to change. See, I was always looking at the race thing from, damn, what if I hadn't hit the police officer? Would that change anything? Or what if I'd have did this and what if I did that? Now I'm an old man with gray in my beard, and our lives are even worth less than they were in the 80s. When they knew you was gonna be armed and in the dope game and might have a gun back, you wasn't getting no bunch of killings. You weren't. The gangs were killing each other. I'm saying you wasn't getting executed in the street. Even the gangs were getting taken in without you shooting them. Might whoop their ass, but what I'm saying is our lives have gotten, the life of Black people since slavery, our lives are worth less and less and less. And now it's basically how much you buy a box of bullets for. Divide that up, and however many bullets it takes to kill a human, there's your worth in some people's eyes.
It's real tough. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
We can leave on that note.
Yep, gentlemen.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Shout out to my nephew.
Yeah, really. Rest in peace to him, and God bless. You know, my husband, each and every day I see him in his struggles when he can't sleep at night. You know, so I see him when he tossing and turning. I see him when I know something is wrong with him. You know, and I do my best to just let him have his peace, so I don't try to ask him too many questions. I haven't lost a child, but I feel like he was my child too because he's a part of him. So, you know, I just don't know. But this has been a great panel. You guys make sure y'all share this video. Keep sharing, so we can get the word out. This is another start of our well-needed conversations. These type of things we're going to be touching bases on quite often. You know, all of that YouTube frustration and confusion, we're not getting involved in that. We're trying to do the word for the Lord. So this is a topic that's needed to be discussed. So we were just touching on that because I felt like it touched home really, really close. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys for joining the channel, joining the panel. We thank you guys for your support as always. We love y'all, and y'all be blessed until the next. Make sure y'all share this video. Deuces. Sorry, Kirk. I don't know why it's still on here. I ended the live a long time ago. Let me end it. Can you hear me?